Welcome to another round of Salty Takeaways and Bitter Ends here at SDH, and I know that you will have them after the 2-1 frustrating loss at Stade Saputo to CF Montreal. We'll get into the numbers and get you ready with all the stats and everything, and get you ready for the remainder of the weekend in Major League Soccer. But first, here's the post-match highlights as soon as the match ended with Jillian Sakovits as she caught up with head coach Gonzalo Pineda, courtesy of our friends at Bally Sports Southeast, Major League Soccer, and their social media networks.
Our coach's interview brought to you by Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. Gillian Sakovits standing by with Gonzalo Pineda.
Coach, you take the 2-1 loss. What this one come down to for you?
Well, similar to the last few games. I think we've been playing very good. I think we've been very solid, especially offensively. Silly mistakes make us suffer, make us lose points. And that's something that we just need to fix that. I feel like we need to do better on that end. Happy with the performance of the midfield and how we are building, but obviously we need to do better.
What's the messaging?
We need to do better. It's just we need to continue working, keep working on that. Little details, marking inside the box, we need to work on that. And yes, let's figure it out.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
So let's get into the numbers. Starting 11, and this was an interesting stat that didn't hit me until Kevin Egan mentioned it on the air today, was that in 9 matches for Atlanta United, this is the 9th different starting 11. And it was Bobby Shuttleworth in net, your back line, Andrew Gutman, Miles Robinson, paired with Alan Franco and Brooks Lennon at the back, Mateus Usechu, Franco Ibarra, and Luis Aruju. Good to see him in the starting lineup from absolute minute zero. And up top, Marcelino Moreno, Ronaldo Cisneros, and Thiago Almada. Going through some of the major plays in the match. Obviously, you start off with the goal by Kamal Miller and made it 1-0 off a set piece in the 4th minute. Once again, Kamal Miller getting spacing between Franco and Ibarra and puts it in the back of the net. So in the 4th minute, you're already down 1-0. And so Atlanta United, from that particular moment, is having to work their way uphill, having to work a little harder, having to work their way past CF Montreal that much more. And CF Montreal at that point, they can sit there, they can lay back, and they can sit there and figure out what they want to do with the remainder of the match. And you look at really Atlanta United dominant when it came to getting the ball away from CF Montreal, and then in turn turning it into more possession. Literally, if you go to SofaScore and look at the flow chart, they have a part of their flow chart and part of their game coverage is related to what they refer to as attack momentum. And you had Atlanta United on the board with a lot of it, frankly, most of the first 45 minutes. And you get into a couple of instances, and first and foremost, with the pressure that you saw from Atlanta United. And this is probably something that Wilfred Nancy and CF Montreal are going to have to look at going forward. Sebastian Breza wanted nothing to do with possessing the ball at his feet. And anytime he was under pressure, you could tell he was incredibly uncomfortable with it. And so I think the book is out once again on Sebastian Breza. Shot stopper that we saw, especially with the free kick from the set piece from Marcelino Moreno, that all 6'4" of Sebastian Breza reached out to and saved, which had an equalizer written all over it until he stretched all the way to his right to keep it from going into the net. You look at some of the other moments. Obviously, it was good to see the interaction and the interplay starting to go with Almada and Aruju and Moreno. Especially, you had moments, and this is once again just looking at it from the first 45 minutes, and we'll break it down into the second 45 as well. Thiago Almada had a save by Breza off a corner. That was in the 11th minute. You had Cisneros as a part of that activity up top as well. And you had Almada Aruju on a 4-on-3 in the 14th. One of the numbers that I will look up as we go here were the first half fouls by CF Montreal. Going forward, Almada and Aruju working together. Almada with a shot from distance trying to test Breza, and that one was from about 25, and it just missed from distance in the close to the 20th minute. That would have been an equalizer there. Bobby Shuttleworth came up with a big save to keep it at 1-0. Moreno went to the ground. There was no call there by Alex Chilowitz. He thought that there was nothing in it. So play continued there. Once again, you've got Aruju and his centering pass working, and Camacho had to clear that. You had Breza challenging Moreno once again. There was no call there by Alex Chilowitz as well. Almada, Moreno, and Gutman combining in the 30th. And so you're getting a lot of different names. You're getting a lot of different names engaged in the offense. The set piece, the save from Breza, that was in the 32nd minute. Then you had Gutman once again creating a corner. Breza had to come up big again. And you have to give Luis Araujo a lot of credit. There was a moment when the game got kind of stretched with about 5 minutes to go in the first half, where Luis backtracks defensively to keep something from happening from CF Montreal, where it ends up sticking 1-0 at the break. Looking at the first half numbers, and when you're checking the statistics, Atlanta United in the first half, 72% possession in the first half, 6 total shots, 2 on target, 5 total shots, 3 on target for CF Montreal, 6 corners to 1 in the first 45 for Atlanta United, 2 yellow cards in the first half for CF Montreal, Rudy Camacho and Victor Wanyama in the 10th and the 31st. The big chance went to CF Montreal, obviously off the set piece once again, where Kamal Miller puts it in the back of the net. And you look at the passing numbers, Atlanta United, 273 of 307 in the first half, mind you, 89% of passing accuracy, 307 passes in the first half. How dominant was Atlanta United in gaining the ball back? 82 of 117, 117 total passes in the first half for CF Montreal, completing at a 70% rate. That one, 82 of 117. Long balls for Atlanta United, 20 of 29 compared to 5 of 20. And CF Montreal, 2 for 3 on their crosses compared to only 1 of 12 for Atlanta United. Atlanta United, 7 of 13 on the dribbles compared to 3 of 10 for CF Montreal, 129 of the 51 duels. Although, obviously, with the height issues, you have the height differential. You have CF Montreal winning 5 of the 8 in the first half, 10 tackles to 9, 15 clearances for CF Montreal in the first 45 to 2 for Atlanta United. Then in the second half, really Almada off a deflection. Almada sends it in up into the air. Great first touch, great movement by Marcelino Moreno to get it past Breza to make it 1-1. That was in the 52nd. And once again, defensive moment of the match probably is the Andrew Gutman off the line, where Kyoto was working his way through off once again another Montreal corner and creating a chance that should have been 2-1, but Gutman clears it off the line to keep it at 1-1. Then you have, once again, a bunch of different names getting involved. Andrew Gutman with a shot that was right on in the 60th. Moreno and Almada creating a corner. Lennon and Cisneros creating a corner, but the header off of the corner went high. Moreno and Cisneros again creating a corner in the 65th. Then Wilfred Nancy goes to bring in Kai Kamara and Zachary Broguillard with about 15 minutes to go. Georgi Mihailovic had an opportunity with 13 to go. Andrew Gutman was open at the far post, but I think he was just a little past the entry that was brought in for him, and he couldn't quite control it. The game did get stretched from that point. And you had Kamal Miller going to Torres, and once again, Kamal Miller who basically was 1-on-2 and showed great dribbling ideas and gets it to Torres, who was at the near post, and he heads it past Bobby Shuttleworth to make it 2-1. Then you have Jackson Conway coming in for Ibarra. Moreno looking for Jackson Conway, and it looked like Jackson was trying to head it. It looked like it took a bit of a dip there at the end. He just wide with the header there and the chance. Jake Mulroney sent it in from the left-hand side. Breza couldn't find it, so that was a close call. As we headed toward the 90th minute, Breza had another save as Almada combined with Lennon. And then that was the end of it right there at 2-1. So let's get into the second half numbers and the statistics from there, and we'll go over the overall. Atlanta United, 51% of the ball in the second 45. 10 shots on target for CF Montreal compared to 6. 3 of the 6 for Atlanta United were on target. 6 corners to 2, so the numbers basically flipped in the second 45. Then big chances, counterattacks, all shots inside the box, all those numbers in favor of CF Montreal in the second 45. Then the passing numbers picked up more even in the second half. Accurate passes, Atlanta 83% on 220 passes total, 80% for CF Montreal on 205 total. Long balls, 18 of 28 for Atlanta United, 12 of 22 for CF Montreal. Crosses 4-3 in favor of the home side. 5 of 11 on dribbles for CF Montreal compared to 2 of 5. 9 to 8 on tackles, 9-6 on clearances, 5-2 on interceptions for Atlanta United. So the numbers overall, Atlanta United, 62% possession on the day. Shots total, 15 for CF Montreal, most of them in the second half, compared to 12 for Atlanta United. Both teams had 5 shots on target. Then 13 fouls to 12 was the overall number for CF Montreal being in favor. Kone, Wanyama, and Camacho had yellows for CF Montreal. Marcelino Moreno got a yellow for his celebration, taking off his shirt. Alan Franco and Franco Ibarra end up with yellows for Atlanta United. Passing on the day, Atlanta United had 205 more passes attempted, 527 to 322. And just once again, it goes to the amount of control that Atlanta United had. Yes, I know it was a very frustrating day that you end up fighting back so hard and only to give up a goal with 10 minutes to go with Kamal Miller. And on the day, 86% for accurate passes, 38 of 57 on long balls compared to only 17 of 42 for CF Montreal on the day. And that's where we are with a 2-1 loss. Looking at the individual numbers, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore, Bobby Shuttleworth at a 6.4. Those in the sixes, Luis Araujo at a 6.1, Franco Ibarra with a yellow at a 6.7, Ronaldo Cisneros in the middle at a 6.6. Then you end up with a lot of sevens on the day. Numbers, according to SofaScore, far better for Atlanta United on the average compared to what you see from CF Montreal. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players for CF Montreal with a rating in SofaScore of less than 7. You had 3 with 7s if you include Sebastian Breza, then Kamal Miller, obviously, with his goal and his assist punched in 8.7 on the day. But Thiago Almada, Marcelino Moreno, both at 7.7s. Mateus Usechu with a 7.4. Andrew Gutman, Brooks Lennon, 7.2. Alan Franco with a 7.1 with his yellow. Miles Robinson with a 7 even on the day. And then your 2 substitutes, Jackson Conway, Jake Mulroney, each with 6.1s as they replaced Franco Ibarra and Luis Araujo in total. Now let's get to your comments. And once again, thanks to everybody who has sent them in and was a part of the conversation as we're discussing this particular match. And I know, Emilio, same thoughts as with the last few, unfortunately. Yeah. And I understand where you're coming from, because once again, you're looking at a team that was superior, at least in my mind, to CF Montreal on the day. But once again, you look at the scoreboard, you come away with a frustrating result and a 2-1 loss. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. Shiva just says it's just not good enough. This team with all the talent needs to be better. They have to figure a way to win. And then Scott Filer adds, especially when they're dominating time of possession. Now, Shiva and Scott, to your point, and once again, I will go back to the point that we made earlier with the idea that, once again, this is the 9th different starting lineup Gonzalo Pineda has had to work with this season. It's the first time Luis Araujo has started since the first match, and he hurts himself after 20 minutes. And you're getting to see those relationships with all of these folks, and you're hoping that you can get some kind of stability when it comes to a starting lineup so you can get that flow, because that way you know where the other player that you're anticipating sending the pass to can be there, and you're not having to think as much about, okay, where is my pass going? What are we doing? And, where can I go here, and trying to figure out what's going on with my ideas. And, once again, yeah, I completely understand the frustration there. It is maddening when you dominate a team as much as you do, that you end up with the result that you end up with. So definitely Shiva and Scott knowing where you're coming from. And then Shake is going to keep his thoughts to himself. Once again, completely, totally understand where you're coming from. Michael had more of the same: set piece defending, set piece defending, set piece defending. Poor set piece defending undermines a lot of positives. And yes, and once again, when you have a team that is shorter than the opposition, and you have teams, like Alistair Johnston, Kamal Miller, Kai Kamara later. Yes, that it is going to be troublesome with your set piece defending, but Mo Adu made the comment on the broadcast on Valley Sports Southeast that there are other ways that you can combat that, and that is going to be the task of Gonzalo Pineda and the guys at practice, about all of the set piece opportunities that are being turned into goals so far this season for Atlanta United. against Atlanta United. Sorry. Dank, we're not good. Please don't take this as offense, Longshore. I would disagree with that, Dank, that the team isn't good. I would completely disagree with that idea. This is a team that has had to go through a lot. They've had to fight through a lot. They haven't had any consistency with their starting lineups. When you lose a Brad Gazan, when you lose an Osvaldo Alonso, when you lose all of the individuals that you do, when you lose a Joseph Martinez for the time that you have, and once again, you're getting to the idea of having to kind of figure things out with the depth that has been assembled for you. But once again, it's that familiarity that has to be ushered in by being in the same starting lineups. Yes, I know that you can get that in at practice, but Monday through Friday in practice is different than game state. So, Dank, I would disagree with your assessment that the team isn't good. And, if you want to look at the standings, frankly, with everything that has gone on so far this year, with right now with Major League Soccer, you look at MLS and the standings, you look at how things are in Atlanta United, with everything that has gone wrong through 9 matches in, they have lost 3 of 4, but they are in 5th place and they're ahead of Toronto FC. So right now they're in 5th and they are only really a win out of 2nd. Really, if you want to get into goal difference and things like that, then it would end up being somewhere close to flipping with Montreal or being close to Orlando City in 3rd or 4th in the East. And, Dank, you could make a point where the top 4 teams right now in the East are the only ones that are, well, short of NYC, 3-1 and 3 through 7, that are over 500. So I would completely disagree with the assessment that the team isn't good. The team is frustrating at times, maddening at times, but with the talent that is there, we've seen what it can do, but they have to be together to do it. And I think that would be my larger point to you, Dank, about what we're seeing so far this season with Atlanta United. And there was one, John Nason reached out to me personally on Twitter, and his point to me, and let me get it really quickly, says, I think it may be time for Atlanta to pick one of Moreno or Almada. They're continuing to play on the same area, leaving Gutman to play the left all by himself. I'm picking to build around Almada and see if I can offload Moreno in the summer, and using the hashtag salty takeaways. And thank you for doing that. John, I would look at it this way. And I've talked about on the show, the Monday through Friday show, about how I view the sport and how I view the players. I view them as artists, and I look at artists in different ways. And this is where I guess you can get into the art gallery analogy if you want. I look at Thiago Almada as an artist different than I do Luis Araujo as an artist, different than I view Marcelino Moreno as an artist. And so by meaning that, once again, they're different types of players to me. They're both they're all very, very good on the dribble, but they also can bring different personalities to what they're trying to do on the dribble. And I think that you saw the imagination of Marcelino Moreno today when he combined with Thiago Almada. Almada left free to roam, was on the right-hand side. Almada sends it in. It's headed up into the air, but then the first touch, the control, the movement, the little drag back, and then putting it into the net. To me, I think that you need all of these different artists, especially with what Atlanta United has gone through with injuries and such. I think that you need all these different kinds of artists to that, so you can have the opposition not figure you out. Because if you have folks that are doing only one thing, you get found out pretty easily. And so I think that having a lot of these different ideas and a lot of these different approaches, it's beneficial for Atlanta United because you keep the other team guessing, you keep them on their heels. I think that Almada has been left free to roam. And so I think that sometimes you might be seeing Almada in his imagination trying to figure out what to do. He and Moreno end up being on the same side, and then it's just that particular element of that particular possession. So no, I would say that you have Marcelino Moreno working he was on the left-hand side. He had Andrew Gutman working with him today. Gutman either underlapping or Marcelino Moreno working his way centrally. I think that when you have a lot of these thinkers that have different ideas about what they can do, I think it's beneficial to have all of them here. And I think that when you have a lot of these guys chasing what Atlanta United wants to do, I think that depth is important. I think that having them all here is important. And I think that having all of these different artists doing what they can do is just as important. So I'm looking at having all of these guys healthy and around first and foremost. And I think also to the point that we've been making here on the show today is the idea that they're still trying to figure out what and where they can go in any given possession, because with Luis back, how does that alter Thiago's thinking? And how does that then alter Marcelino's thinking? And what can Cisneros do? And so, Cisneros having only been here for 3 weeks and trying to figure out how he integrates. And so I think that you're looking at integration off of injury. And if this were 6 or 7 matches ago, then I think that there might be, a different look at it, because it's the beginning of the year versus 8 matches in. And once again, remember, you're only to the quarter pole, and you're barely just shy of the quarter pole here in the season. You're 8 matches in, you're 5th. You've had a lot of injuries. Yes, you've lost 3 of 4, but I think at the same time, I think there's a lot of growing that can be done. And yes, I know set pieces, to what Michael Head has been saying, can definitely be looked at and addressed, and you figure that out as you go. But I think that continuity is just as important as having all these different approaches when it comes to Atlanta United and what they want to do. So that is, I guess that's a long-winded answer, John, to a 4-line question, but thank you for sending it in on this round of Salty Takeaways. And thanks to everybody who has been in conversation with one another, whether it's on our Discord or whether it's here on Twitter with me after the match is over here on Salty Takeaways. And we'll just, get ready for Chicago. Chicago comes in next weekend for Atlanta United, and Chicago's not scoring a lot of goals, but they do have Gaga Slonina in net, and he's a very, very talented keeper. And they've only scored 5 this season in 8 matches leading into this weekend, but they've only given up 5 in 8 as well. So goals against of 0.6. So once again, thanks to everybody who has been here to go through the numbers with us and give their thoughts when it comes to Salty Takeaways. Overreaction Monday is on Monday, because that's why they call it Overreaction Monday, 9:05. And we'll go through some of the things that still might be on your mind for the entire show after, yes, a very frustrating loss against CF Montreal at Stade Saputo in Quebec, Canada. The Twos, by the way, are off this weekend, watching everybody else go. But just as something to keep in mind, Lou City, their visitors in the midweek, have not lost in their first 8, but they are playing on Saturday. They are hosting Pittsburgh in a tough one. Then they have to turn around and come play Atlanta United 2 in the midweek. So we'll keep an eye on that one as well and see what is up with the Twos. Because if you were looking for a Twos review, that's why, because there are no Twos to review as they're watching Lou City take on the Pittsburgh Riverhounds on your Saturday night. Don't forget to download the Soccer Down Here app, available on iOS and Android. Follow us at Soccer Down Here. I'm at OSG Nelson. It's at Longshoe, at Nicolifi, at Jared_Smith. And go to soccerdownhere.net for all the news that is fit to print. It's another round of Salty Takeaways and bitter ends after what happened in Montreal. We'll catch up with you Monday. Play it safe, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us here at SDH.